Well, this was right after the war in Austria, where the whole of Europe was starving to death, you know. So I on the notice on the board there in the camp, I saw a notice that the local British company was looking for a sign painter and to paint um, to paint the insignia on the car trucks and barracks and regimental insignia. So I said, why not? So I went up to see the major, and he said, well, you painted before? I said, certainly I painted before. I said, can you do this type of thing? I said, just show me, and we started the next day. So we painted this 8th Army insignia, and on the trucks and all over the place, and it lasted for what, 2 months, and I got a uniform, and without the regimental badge and shoes, which meant a lot, and I was painting cigarettes. And when the sergeant major came over to me and said, "Well, look, Mac, there aren't many trucks left, you better think of something else." So I went over to the major and I said, "Oh, listen, Mac," and well, his name was really Mac or something or another. Would you? I mean, I can draw. I can draw portraits. He said, do you think any of the men would be interested in this type of thing?" He said, "Certainly. Just put your name on the bulletin board there, and we are a democratic lot, and whoever wants to be drawn or painted by you, well." So, and I painted I think 180 men, in profile, of a quarter profile, half profile, and all this sort of thing. And then after another 2 months, this was over,
Oil paint?
No, this was in charcoal. There was no paints. And this was in 1946, 45, Marshall. I mean, the old General Marshall and his Marshall Plan saved Europe from total starvation. Uh, I got an idea from the sergeant, the mess sergeant, and the soldiers ate in a large barrack there, and the guy said, "Well, this walls look kind of bare. Maybe you could, struggle along for another few months." So I suggested to the major. He said, "All right, just paint whatever the guys want." And so we decorated, I think it was about 200 feet on one side with some cartoons depicting two sort of semi-witted captains from the upper classes. I forget now the name of that publication that thing appeared in. It was paper of the 8th Army paper. Now, why I'm telling you all this is because of the final part of it, which the soldiers got kind of bored with all this, official stuff. They said, "Well, we want where the bar." There was a little bit of a bar there in the corner. They said, "Let's have some umph, a little bit of meat, a little bit of hunger." So I said, "What would you like?" I said, "What we will like?" I said, "We would like some, some broads, like." So, so I painted some, well, sort of meaty, quite healthy-looking females, and when it came to depicting certain parts of anatomy, I said to the guys, "How big?" He said, "Bigger, bigger." So it was a very enjoyable work. Now, the whole thing was finished in about 3 months, and I got my brother up, who was starving down in the valley himself, and I said to the major, "Listen, I need a guy that would mix the paints." He said, "Good. Do you know anybody?" I said, "Well, I just have the guy. I just know the guy." He said, "Good, bring him up." So we were both, living off the 8th Army. So, and this bar section was beautiful. It was really, up to date and quite modern. and the fellows were bringing their buddies in and showing them off, showing off these fantastic murals, so one day I was painting away on the last leg or whatever, and the sergeant comes running in. The mess sergeant said, "Ted, that's horrible. That's the end. That's the end." I said, "What? The end of what?" He said, "The brigadier is coming." I said, "So what? Well, do we hide or what?" He said, "No, he's a horrible so and so, very pious." I said, "Oh, well." Uh, I said, what do you mean?" "Well, I don't think he would like this mural. It's too much. You know what? Just so. When is he coming?" I say, "He's here. He's going to be here in 15 minutes." So, and if he sees this, I'm sure we're going to be moved, at least to who knows where. So there was a terrible gloom set in, and we were all looking around for. So the major said, "Couldn't you paint them over?" But there was about 150 feet of this, flesh. And I said, "No, it couldn't be done. It would look horrible. He would know." And uh, sinking in a deep depression, we all sat around this table, and then I saw a bunch of sacking there in the corner, and I said, "Holy mackerel." I just got the idea, you see. Uh, I said, "Get me 3 men and 4 pairs of scissors." And, according to the old army tradition, in a few seconds I got what I wanted, and we started cutting little triangles out and circles, and which in a way resembled bikini, and we tacked that on the on the paint, rather on the mural, on the figures, and just when the last piece was being tacked on, the brigadier was there and looked over the thing, and I said, "Well, what is this?" And everybody smiled very politely and said, "Well, a kind of naughty painting." And well, he didn't say more than that and left, and I was the hero. It was one of the most pleasant assignments of commercial assignments in my life.
Thank you.
You're on.
Oh boy, I wouldn't want to.
Well, talk into it.
Well, ask me something.
6 inches. Just maybe tell a story.
Oh, well, I haven't got such experience as Ted.
You have to talk into the mic.
Oh.
What the story doesn't know.
Oh, I know just about everything, except every time sounds different. Well, that's enough. I just want to hear myself.
How's that? What do you want me to say? You're going to shut off the monitoring device, right?
Shut up. It's on right now.
Guess I shouldn't make faces.
Oh, you can say anything you want. No, as long as when we get to the gym. Okay,
Now you want me to talk about why I like to sing and
yeah, what is, music and singing, what does it mean to you? As a singer.
First of all, I'm not a singer.
You're a musician?
No, I wouldn't exactly say I'm a musician either.
When you think of music, what does music do to you?
Basically, I think music is fairly individual, and it's something which relaxes me. I like to sit around after a particularly hard day and sing and play a little bit of guitar. Something to unbend my mind with.
Would you call yourself, if you did, okay, we said before that, you said something about the end of a hard day you like to, sing, and it relieves your tension, and so on.
Yeah, I think singing and playing guitar is something that is personal, individual. Don't like to do it for very large groups. I like to do it on my own for maybe 2 or 3 friends.
Do you express yourself through a song, through a melody?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent you express, in that you sing the type of songs that you like, that express your sentiments and your views on life
At that time.
at that particular time in your life, yeah, and depends on the way you're feeling that particular day also.
So if you're sad, would you sing a sad song, or would you sing a happy song to make you feel better? Or is it?
I don't think you can say that either one is true. At least in my mind, there's no relationship with how I particularly feel as to what song I sing. If I'm sad, I may sing a sad song, or I may sing a happy one to cheer myself up.
These are personal songs that you talk about.
Yeah, blues, a couple of blues. Maybe I'm feeling that I need a little more freedom, so I sing songs about hitchhiking or being on the road or going somewhere or being in some other place, doing something else. Possibly if I'm very sad, I might sing a song that I very much like, regardless of the sentiment that it expresses, simply as a way of cheering myself up because I like that particular song.
So you really play and sing for yourself rather than
Yes,
the audience.
yes, definitely. To me, it's not important that my voice isn't particularly good or my guitar playing not as good as it should be. It's strictly something that I like to do on my own, for my own benefit, and I don't really play to anybody or for anybody except myself.
So it's a for it has therapeutical value.
Right. Yeah. Right. It helps me. It does me some good, and I'm not particularly interested in inflicting it on anybody else.
Do you have any wish about performing on stage for other people? Would you like other people to share your?
No. I don't consider myself good enough to do this. It's strictly for me something that's personal, something that I like to do on my own. I get rather nervous in front of large groups of people, or even small groups of people. And then it ceases to be something that relaxes me, something that gives me pleasure, and becomes something that's a bit of an ordeal and a little tiring, and no longer expresses anything.
Do you make this so-called circuits around Toronto, the clubs, riverboats?
No. I have several favorite people that I like to go and see when they're in Toronto. It doesn't matter where they come, which club they come to. If they're there, I'll go and see them, if I can and if I have time. And I don't make any particular round of clubs to see who's in town. I know who I like, I know who I want to see, and when they're in town, I'll go and see them.
What do you think? Well, let's get back to this folk music movement that started about 5 years ago and at its peak. Now it's slowly dying down. Is it dying?
I think it's going back to the. I think first of all, that there was a hardcore of people interested in folk music before this boom, and I think it's the boom came. Now it's going or gone, and the people who were originally interested in it are still interested in it, and the people who got on the bandwagon have dropped off and joined something else. And I think probably it'll level back out to the same number of people who were interested in it before the boom. We'll still be interested in it.
In music, you're strictly interested in guitar.
It depends what you mean by interested in it.
For let's say, as an instrument that you'd like to play.
Yeah, I think for my ability and so on, it best suits what I like to do.
Why do you like the guitar as an instrument?
It's a very versatile instrument. It's fairly adaptable to many types of music, blues, folk music, pop stuff. So since I'm primarily interested in blues and folk music, or so-called folk music, then it's the best instrument for me.
You say guitar is very personal?
Yes, definitely very personal. You make it do what you want it to, and yeah.
Did you ever sing or play professionally?
No.
You don't want to?
No, not at all. No desire at all, no. I have something else that I would rather do for a living, and I don't think, I think performing professionally would probably, for me at least, take something away from music, in that it would become a job like any other job, and very boring, and I really don't want to ruin one of my main ways of relaxing this way.
Is there something very strongly that you feel pro or against the musical movement in folk, or is music today, in your type of music, would you like to see it improved?
I think, as far as folk music goes, about everything has been done to it that can be done to it. I don't see where any more harm could be done to it than has already been done. I don't know if it can improve at all. It can become more sophisticated, I suppose. I don't know whether you would consider that an improvement.
The word folk, that it is, it's not, well, this urban folk is a country type of it.
Well, I think city people deserve some type of folk music as well as anybody else. Possibly in 20 years, this will be 25, 30 years. What we're hearing today, the songwriters we're hearing today will be the folk music of the city.
Music, though, as we knew it?
No, I don't. Well, I think no. I think by the very definition of folk music, is something that originated with some unprofessional person, went through a period of change where different people took it and did what they wanted to it, molded it to their situation and their personality and so on. I don't think this is true now. Possibly a song that is being written now in 25 years will go through many changes and so on. In the strictest definition of the term folk music, then it could be termed folk music.
What makes a song great in your opinion, as in folk?
Well, I think it has to express some type of genuine feeling for the people who are listening to it. I think the feeling that whoever wrote it had to have some type of genuine feeling. I think phony feeling is detected by most people. They reject this type of thing, or many of them do at least. When it's written with genuine feeling, I think it lasts probably longer, is more widely accepted. By feeling, I mean both feeling in the words and the suitability of the music to the words.
What type of songs do you like mostly? Sad songs? Happy?
Oh, I don't know that there are any type of songs that I like best. I think I probably enjoy listening to the blues performed by people who were brought up in that vein of music. Of course, they have a more genuine background in the blues. I like to hear blues performed, country blues and city Chicago type blues, by the people who know how to perform them. I think that probably my favorite listening music. It's very difficult for anybody not brought up in the society from which the blues came. It's very difficult for somebody not in that society to perform the blues with any feeling or any genuine interest.
Does blues necessarily have to be sad?
No, I don't think it necessarily has to be sad. There are a lot of misconceptions about the blues. Many people think blues are any type of slow, draggy, sad music. But blues can be happy, they can be yelling, they can be vicious, they can go through the whole range of emotions. I think probably the blues are defined more by the mechanics of the music itself rather than by the character of the words.
Are there any, well, what would be your favorite performance in blues, first of all, and then in folk?
Depends what type of blues you're talking about. Are you talking about country blues, or are you talking about city blues, Chicago blues? In the Chicago blues vein, I think Muddy Waters, of course, Howlin' Wolf, Buddy Guy, Junior Wells, some of these people from Chicago probably best express the city blues today. Country blues, except for a few collectors and enthusiasts, is pretty well a dead issue today. Negroes don't generally like to play it.
Blues are strictly Negro type of music. Why can white men express blues in the same way that Negro can?
I don't think he's lived the same life. That even the poor whites haven't lived the same life that the Negro. He's in a special position in North America, and this position, I think, puts him in a position to sing the blues better than anybody. It's his own individual personal music. I don't think any white person has duplicated that type of experience, not for 30 or 40 years of a lifetime, say.
In relation to other arts, let's say dance, ballet, art, painting, sculpture, would you say that singing, folk singing, or blues can be creative?
I think blues are definitely very creative, and folk music, particularly blues, where you have a technical form of music which is almost always standard. For instance, you have certain chord patterns and so on which don't vary a heck of a lot, and over top of these the melody has to be improvised. And when you think of the hundreds and hundreds of different blues songs that there are, with just with so many various shades of melody and so on, it can't help but be creative. The words, of course, are extremely colorful, extremely creative. They express a situation, an emotion, and there are only so many situations and so many emotions, yet there are hundreds and hundreds of blues songs with these emotions and themes expressed, and they're nearly all different. What more do you want from creativity?
How could you relate it to, let's say, painting? The creative aspect that goes into painting. Would you relate it in any way?
I don't know, because I don't know that much about painting, really. I suppose you start with an idea and you express it the best way you know how. The painter expresses his with paint, and A musician, a blues musician, expresses his idea or his emotion with sound. I don't know how you could tie it together any better than that.
Right, so it's been said that the painter, when he's not painting, he's painting in his mind. Would you say that the same for a singer or a player of an instrument? When you're working, your subconscious mind would say, pick out a melody.
Oh yeah, I think definitely melodies and so on are always running through your mind. Tunes, words.
Give the example of sentences for me.
I don't know. What do you
How
mean?
you walk down the street.
No, that wasn't that song. That was St. Louis Blues. Yeah, I think most people who do a lot of singing or playing of an instrument probably do have these passages of music running through their minds, pieces of words and so on, just as a painter would be creating in his mind, or a writer would be composing words in his mind.
Have you ever tried writing a song?
Yeah, I've tried a few, and they didn't work out so well, and I haven't tried any. I have a feeling that to start writing songs, you probably need a fair amount of time, and you must do a fair amount of work on it. Probably it gets, like anything else, easier after you've done a few and you've had a little more practice. I never got beyond the practicing stage because usually my time was taken up in other ways.
Right.
For me, writing songs isn't relaxing. It doesn't. I don't express myself well that way. Writing songs or creating music, I relax and express myself better by playing and singing, and that's pretty well what I plan to continue to do.
So it's really your personal music that you don't necessarily want to have anybody, doesn't matter if anybody's listening to it or says it's good or bad or whatever.
No, I don't play for an audience or for anybody in particular except myself, and as long as it pleases me, then I'm satisfied.